Welcome. My name is Robbie Moore. I'm the certification manager here with WBE ORV. This is the Becoming a Certified WBE. As I said before I started the recording, before I ever got in, feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat to each other, share your LinkedIn, whatever. This is recorded so that we can share it with you later, including the slide deck. So let me get to the right screen here so that I can just slide through all these slides. And of course, it's not showing up the way I need it to, so we'll go there. Yep. So the agenda. We have about WBank and WBank ORV. What do we offer? Who we are, understanding supplier diversity. What is a WBE? Eligibility, the benefits of being certified, and then you need help, how to contact us. And I'll also kind of give you some information about other organizations that may be able to help. And then certified, what do you do then? That's okay. So we're just gonna hop that. I do talk to myself a lot, and I do ramble a lot. So I apologize ahead of time for that. If you need me to repeat something, feel free to ask me. You can put it in the chat and come off mute. It's kind of informal. So I will not be offended. The Southern accent will come out at times, so it might be hard to understand. So about WBank. WBank, the organization, has grown to become the largest third-party certifier of businesses owned, controlled, and operated by women in the United States, and is a leading advocate for women-owned businesses in corporate and government supply chains. About WBank, there's over 20,000 certified WBEs, around 550 plus corporate members nationally. 14 RPOs make up the one national. ORV is an RPO. That stands for Regional Partner Organization, and that's on another slide. And when there's more information, our core platform is certification, opportunities, resources, and engagement. The network. So as I mentioned, there's 14 RPOs. As you'll see, we're there in Burgundy with a little star over Mason, Ohio, but I say Cincinnati. Everybody knows where Cincinnati is. Not everyone knows where Mason, Ohio is. We're located in the Cohatch here in Mason. But every RPO has a headquarters in different places. Once you're certified with one, you can go to anything. You can do anything you want within the network. So if you want to go to an event in California, you're welcome to go to the events in California. If you want to go do business in Florida, you're welcome to do business in Florida as long as they recognize certification. We are just kind of the ones that process your paperwork and host the local events for Kentucky, Ohio, and West Virginia. About ORV. I'm not going to read all this. As you can see it. We do certification, we do business training and development, networking, matchmaking. We was established in 2009 with only 340 certified WBs at that time. We are now over 1,100 certified WBs. We're nearing 100 corporate members. I think right now we're around 70 plus. I mean, it kind of fluctuates. But yeah, Kentucky, Ohio, and West Virginia, we're one of 14 RPOs, regional partner organizations. And let's see, go to the next slide. So if you need assistance with certification, because it can be daunting, we recommend a business coach to assist with the collection and review of your documents. The SBA, Small Business Administration, and the SBDC, Small Business Development Center, is a great free resource. Cannot emphasize the word free enough. Save money while you can, especially as you're starting your businesses, and just in general, save money where you can. But they're a great free resource. The one in Cincinnati is located with Urban League. I think the one in Columbus, Ohio, is located at Ohio State University, or the Ohio State University. I don't know if some of y'all are alumni or not. They didn't trademark so I don't always say it. The one there, wherever you are, if you Google SBDC in your area, it will bring up the website showing you what your local one is. Sometimes they're regional, sometimes they're based on city, like the one in Cincinnati covers all the way up to Dayton. And then sometimes they'll do Northern Kentucky, but state lines are kind of finicky with it. But Columbus is it's Columbus, but also there's some other areas. But you can Google that. There's also the link. And again, this will be shared with you with links, all that for you to go to. So what is supplier diversity? It's business practices that ensure that goods and services are derived from a diverse supplier base. Doesn't guarantee contracts, but provides an equal opportunity to compete. And you will hear me say it many times that it does not guarantee contracts. Nothing in this life is guaranteed, especially contracts from anybody. But it's giving you that opportunity to compete and also gives you access to some of those procurement executives. Many corporations and government agencies set annual spend goals to create a diverse supply chain. I know a lot of our corporate members have them because it's competitive. It makes it competitive. It means they're getting a good supplier base that offers a lot of different services and products. And it's not just the same old people getting every contract every year or end up on shelf space in like a Kroger or a Target. It's not the same people filling every shelf every year. It gives that opportunity for someone new to come in that they're all trying to make money. Let's not lie, but it also gives you that opportunity at the same time. WeBank is the largest national certifier of women-owned businesses. There are state certifications, but they are just state. So what makes us kind of the largest is we are national. We are state of Ohio recognized it, state of Kentucky, just an RPO. West Virginia, we're trying to engage more, but every state kind of has their own. But where we're national, we get recognized a lot more. And you don't kind of have to keep getting certified in every state you go to. So that kind of separates us as well. Some organizations may require you to be WeBank certified. If you're trying to be a differentiator or they want those credits, knowing that you're a woman-owned business and they're like, we're already giving you business. Can you please get certified so we can check this internal box to get those credits, meet those goals that we have? I know Hamilton County set one for part of the Brent Spence Bridge project that's going on that's going to be billions of dollars. There's a supplier diversity goal on that. Hamilton County and Robert Bell, they have set goals for many things around Hamilton County. Cities in Columbus have done it. P&G does it. The Toyotas, Kroger, a lot of these major corporations set those goals because they know it's good business. They know they're getting a competitive base. They know they're getting a good product as well. So some things to know about supplier diversity. Every organization and state is different when it comes to supplier diversity. Every state, some may require you to be state certified for certain aspects. But like with Ohio, we have an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, that if you're certified with us, you're fast tracked through their program. So you're not waiting the entire length. They send us some paperwork. They give us a week to fill it out. We normally fill it out within like 48 hours, send it back, and you're certified in a couple days. It speeds that process along because they know we vet so heavy. But every state is different. So make sure you're researching who you're trying to do business with and what they recognize. Nationally recognized, but every state is different. Being a diverse supplier does not guarantee contracts. I told you I'm going to say that many times over and over because we can't have people thinking, oh, as soon as I'm certified, I'm going to get every contract that I apply for now. You still have to be a good business. You still have to offer a good service or a good product. Being certified is one of many ways of being diverse. There are veteran-owned, there's minority-owned, there's the LGBT plus community that they have their own certificate. Like there's many ways of being a diverse business. Economic disadvantage is another way. Like there's so many different ways. So kind of research those as well. WBE is just a really recognized one, and it's the one you're here for today. Supplier diversity is not goodwill; it's good business sense. As I said, it creates the competitiveness. It gives those suppliers a good supply chain of businesses that years ago, I guess it's years ago now, whenever the cargo ship got crossways in that canal and kind of like everything stopped, we were able to fill a lot of needs for our corporates because they're like, well, things normally that are coming from on those containers can't get through. We said, hey, we've got a lot of this stuff that made in the US right here in the supplier base. So they were searching like crazy and like, oh, nothing slipped for us because we were able to just find so many people that done it locally. We didn't have to wait. We didn't have to, the prices were competitive and everyone won. So that's why it's another reason. It's good business sense. It's a supply chain solution. And WeBank is a supply chain solution. And you yourself can have supplier diversity goals, that if you're going for contracts or as you're building stuff, you can have goals of, I want to give back, or I want to set aside 10% of this project to diverse owned businesses, to another WB. I want to go in with another WB so that we all get a piece of the pie. And if you hear me say we, it's because I'm referred to as a he's for she's. I'm an advocate. I use my place of privilege for, I get invited to rooms that I shouldn't always be in. I make sure I bring people with me and introduce, just because I'm a guy. We all know how it is. Business is male dominated, so I try to use my place to help out any way that I can. So I feel like I'm one of you all in that aspect. I'm here every day, fighting, working, processing. So what is a WB? It's a women's business enterprise. It refers to the business, not the person. You have to be at least 51% owned, operated, controlled, and managed by female or females. It can be a group of women that make up that 51%. And it's commonly referred to as a WBE, a WBE. You'll hear many different enunciations of that, but it's certified through WBE. There's a WBE certification through different states. We're located in Ohio, so I know Ohio has one. I'm from Kentucky, and I know Kentucky has one. A lot of states have their own, but a lot of people that you hear talk about it, if they're not state, they're certified with us. Like, you're usually one of the two. It's either you're state certified or you're certified with us, or sometimes you're both. All right, so the eligibility. So you have to be a for-profit independent business, 51% owned, operated, controlled, and managed by a woman or women. You must be a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident. So that means you don't have a naturalization papers or green cards acceptable. Female owner or women holds the highest title. The owner displays evidence of legal and managerial control. Owner displays evidence of contributions and or capital or expertise. Will make sure you have skin in the game, that you're not just a front for somebody else, for your husband, for your spouse, for a business partner. You have some skin in the game too. Businesses demonstrate independence and ability to function on their own. If you're like Aflac, if you're an insurance person, we want to make sure that you have the ability to we understand they're giving you the product that you're selling, but you have the ability to make some decisions on your own. We do some franchisees of different things, but we want to make sure you have independence, that you're not getting all your customers from one customer base. Say you're a construction company, and all your construction is coming from one, or all your business is coming from one business, and you don't have the ability to seek outside business other than that one. You're not really going to be independent. You're really functioning based on their business alone. And if they're controlling what you can and can't pursue, you're not going to make criteria. That doesn't happen very often. I'm giving you like the worst case scenarios. If you're 100% owner of your business, a lot of this stuff is going to seem kind of dumb, because you're like, oh, I'm 100%, I do everything. Make sure you don't have board members that can take control from you as a female owner. We've seen that before. Make sure it's just female, like all bylaws, and we'll get into it more, the technical stuff. There is no size, industry, or length of time for business requirements. I know some other certifications require you to be in business for a year or meet a certain gross receipt threshold. We do not. As long as you have your documents in place with the state, filing your LLC or S Corp or B Corp or sole proprietor, whatever it is, as long as you got all your documents in line, and then you've registered with the state and you show you are a legitimate business, we can do this. We do startups, we do everything all the way up to, billion-dollar companies and companies that have been in business for over 100 years. There is no limit in that. And there's also some people say, well, I have to be the highest paid. The female does not have to be the highest paid either. That was an old thing, I think, before I started 4.5 years ago, maybe, even before that. The female does not have to be the highest paid, because when you have a salesperson and that's on commission, you don't want to hinder yourself, making sure you're always making $1 more than them. That can cut into your profits and your bottom line, and nobody wants that. So what is a WOSB and some updates for this year and kind of some current updates that's not going to be on here, but just what's going on in the world with everything. WeBank is an approved third-party certifier of the SBA's Woman-Owned Small Business Federal Contracting Program. Two ways to get certified. You can add it to your application at no extra cost. I think it's like question one of, do you want to be considered for WOSB certification? Just click yes, and it populates about 7 more questions, I think, at the main end, and asks for a couple extra documents. And then the option 2 is apply to the SBA. This is centered around government contracts, government spending, and things like that. There are a few private companies that will ask for this because they do government work and they want to make sure they get credit. So again, research who your goal customers are and what they are looking for when you're applying. If you click yes on the question for us and then you decide you don't want it, I can take it away. No big deal. We'll withdraw it. No issue at all. But if you select no and then later on you're like, oh, I really want to go do business with this government entity and I don't have it, I can't add it on to your application. You have to wait to your recertification, then we can add it on there. And then option 2 is apply to the SBA, and that's where I'm going to kind of get into what's going on in the world today. They are normally a slower process than we are for both of them. They are not working right now. As if you've been living under a rock, they're furloughed at the moment. If you've not been under a rock, they are, even though like they're not really dealing a ton with the government, they're dealing with, WBE, other things, they're not working. So that process is going to be extremely slow for the foreseeable future, especially when they come back, because they're going to have a backlog of however many days the furlough lasted. If you apply for WOSB while everything's going on, the good thing is we process WBE first and then the WOSB. So that's going to give you a kind of a runway to get everything sorted out through the SBA, because it's going to be a lot of pending stuff until then. If you applied for but have not received your UEI, the unique entity identifier is what that is. From SAM.gov, complete the application, provide a screenshot in the PDF of your application, showing us that you are trying, that you are doing your best part for that. I also, it's on this one. So there's that. So some eligibility criteria, you have to meet the WBE certification. As I said, we process it after because there's a couple extra questions. We're looking at a few different criterias. One of those is, do you meet an approved NAICS code? I'll say NICS codes. Someone would say NEX codes. There's a couple different ways we all enunciate these acronyms in the SBA size standard. If you're curious on what that is, you can Google NAICS code size standard, and there's a PDF with, it's like 600 pages, but it's got all of the codes. Those are your business codes on your taxes. So if you're filing a Schedule C or an 1120S taxes, 1065, whatever, on that main page, I think it's on the left side, it'll say business code. That's your NAICS code. So then you would just, go over to the PDF, hit Control F, and search your code and see where it matches. They define small business a lot larger than I would. I see them that are over 100 million because then it becomes based on employee counts. Or 50 million. Like if you're under 50 million, like you're going to be considered a small business. I don't know if I've seen anyone that's under 50 million in revenue that's not considered a small business. So we have different definitions of small business. So take advantage of that. You must devote 30 hours per week to the business, and that asterisk those do not correlate that are on this slide right now. Some businesses, that asterisk is because some businesses don't require you 30 hours a week. If you have a warehouse and like your business is a warehouse, just a physical warehouse, and you're just kind of holding stuff for companies and businesses and whatever it may be, maybe it's molds, maybe it's aluminum cast, whatever it is, it's not going to take you 30 hours a week to go look at your warehouse and make sure the electric's running, sweep the floors, and file your paperwork. It may only take 10, it may only take 20. So that asterisk is depending on your business. We ask that you devote 30 hours per week. You must be registered in the Federal System for Award Management, or SAM. This is kind of where that asterisk should be. SAM is the government thing. It's sam.gov. If you are on something that says you need to pay for that registration, you are in the wrong place. sam.gov is free. And again, I love the word free. It is free if you're on somewhere that says pay for it, because there are agencies out there that will do your paperwork for you. And some of them do amazing jobs. I'm not gonna, if you value your time, or you don't want to set time aside, you can pay to have someone help you with this application process through SAM or even through us. We have people that do that. I recommend saving money everywhere you can. The SBA is free and they will help you with their application. They'll help you with this. But sam.gov itself is free. So don't want you to get out there and say, well, it's $500 for me to apply for that SAM. I'm like, you're in the wrong spot. I've had people come to me, I'm like, backtrack, get away, turn around, put it in reverse, Terry. Like, you're in the wrong spot. Determining if certification is right for you or me, you. What is your product or service target? Are you trying to go for large contracts? Are you trying to just grow your business? What is that target? What's that goal? Can your business provide quality service and or products on large contracts? If your goal is to get your coffee for Carol's Coffee Cart, if your goal is to get your coffee into Kroger, are you ready to scale to the point they're going to ask for 1,000 bags for 50 Kroger, like 50 bags per store or whatever, or 10 bags per store to get you started? Are you ready to provide those 500 bags at the drop of a hat? If you're not ready, maybe let's not look to get there yet. Let's continue to grow our business, because you don't want to you're putting your best foot forward, but it's not the right foot forward for a Kroger that's trying to get up there. If you're ready to scale, if you can do 500 bags in a drop of a hat, like no question asked, hey, go after those contracts. Go after those vendors as your Kroger, Toyota, Honda, construction companies. They're very reluctant to give you a $1 million contract before ever doing business with you. They're going to give you a $10,000 contract to see what's your quality of work, to dip their toe in before they trust you with something larger. You have to kind of sometimes take those $10,000 contracts, but also sometimes those $10,000 contracts is your entire monthly bills. So you're happy to take a $10,000 contract. Kind of understanding where you are and what your capabilities are, because they're not going to give you a $5 million contract. You've never done $1 million in a year. So understand where you're going with that. Are you willing to share a lot of details of your business? There are a lot of documents. I think it's 27 plus, depending on your legal structure, that we're going to ask for in the documents, including federal tax documents. We're going to ask for a lot. Don't worry, there's no AI, there's no anything like that. It is Colleen and myself and Anita that are reviewing those by hand. By hand, I mean online, through the dashboard and portal. So they're safe. But it's us. We're going through those, reading those. It's not an automated system. So if you have questions during it, you can reach out to a live person immediately, depending on our workload. We'll get back to you shortly. And are you clear that WBE WBE certification is a marketing tool and does not guarantee contracts? I'll say it many times. It's marketing. It's the getting access to the procurement executives to talk to them, see what their needs are, see where you can fit in, find mentors within those companies, within other WBs that are like-minded professionals that maybe have gone through the same struggles or been through them. And you can ask, how'd you get over that? It gets you into the room with a lot of people that are business owners. Then most of them are business owners. So they're going through what you've been through or are willing to help. So some of the WB benefits, access to supplier diversity and procurement executives. As I said, they're in the rooms. We invite our corporate members. A lot of them show up. I think at Catch the Wave, which is our flagship event, if we have 70 corporate members, 45 of them are there, or have representation there. So they all show up. And then the other portion, like they're using the database, we just may be too far for them to drive on that one, or it's like a regional issue. Formal and informal opportunity to pursue business, access to networking events and programs. And I'll kind of highlight some of the programs we have upcoming later on. And I recommend going to webank.org and looking at their programs. They have some amazing ones that you get access to. And amazing, like just remarkable. Eligibility for regional and national awards and recognition. We do an awards dinner every year. We Bank the National does one as well. And that gets you in front of a lot of people. When you win awards because you've been showing up, you've been doing good business with our corporate members, and you've been, an advocate or whatever award it is, like that gets you in front of a lot of people. And the awards themselves, like on like a selfish note, like they're gorgeous awards. But you get that too. Community of support from other female business owners and like-minded professionals. As I said, like they're there to kind of like they're there to get business, but like no one's going to be like, I'm not going to help you because we're in the same industry. In Cincinnati, when Air Catch the Wave was here, I asked afterwards, like, hey, what was the staff? What was your favorite part of Catch the Wave? And one of them was like, oh, I was on the bus on the way to an event or on the way to our welcome reception, and I watched one WB teach another WB how to pitch her business on the bus ride, on like a 5-minute bus ride from the hotel to the event. Watched her teach her how to, pitch her business, and then watched her walk around all night pitching her business and networking amongst the community. No one had ever taught her. No one had ever showed her, what do you mean I need a 30-second elevator pitch for my business? Taught her, watched her walk around the room the rest of the night and the conference, doing what they had just talked about and her perfecting it as she went. So you get a lot of really helpful people as well. Before applying, review the eligibility criteria and download and review the WBENC standards and procedures PDF. And that is what that QR code is. That is the standards and procedures to ensure you meet the requirements in the legal documentation as well as day-to-day operations and management of the business. It's going to give you all the things that we're looking for, all the things that we're looking that are green flags, yellow flags, red flags. It's going to tell you. We're going to see, do you have the words unanimous in your operating agreement and you're not 100% owned? That's going to be a red flag. If you're 100% woman owned and you would see unanimous, we're like, okay, it's okay. But like, we're going to then come back later on if you ever were to add a male and say, did you take this out? So that's going to outline everything that we're kind of looking at. We're validating that business is at least 51% owned, controlled, operated, and managed by a woman or women. Notice the word and not or. You have to meet all 4 of those criteria. If you only meet 3 of them, you will be denied. Because we want, when we give that seal, that there's no question of, are you really the owner? Are you really running this company? Do you have kind of the ultimate control to do what you want with your business? And there are some caveats that if you have a unanimous clause about like dissolving the business and you have a 51-49 split between a male and female or female male, we're going to allow that unanimous clause because you're talking about livelihoods there. Like that's okay. But we really don't love seeing the word unanimous. And what's crazy is we see it sometimes with husband and wife, and I'm like, that's a conversation at dinner. You shouldn't need the word unanimous between husband and wife running a business. Like if it's your business, run the business. But this QR code will kind of line out everything that we're looking for and to make sure that you stay in compliance. Application process. Entire process takes 3 to 4 months. 90 days is what WBENC policy is. Depending on your complexity of business, sometimes it may take us a few days longer. If there's a lot going on and we've had to ask a lot of Q&As or things like that. So determine if you're eligible, look at those policies and procedures. And again, if you meet those 4, owned, operated, controlled, and managed by a woman or women, the 51%, you're going to be fine. You would reread your bylaws and all that to make sure that there's no backdoor way that somebody else, a male, can take away control or stop you from doing business. That's kind of like my biggest advice is just like read it through trying to find an issue. If you don't find an issue or something that you're like, you're going to be pretty good most of the time. Compile the required documentation. And I'm going to give you a link later or QR code that will take you to what I call the cheat sheet, but it is all the documents that we're going to ask for and kind of an explanation in case they're kind of tricky. Complete the online application. That is when your 90 days starts. Is when we receive it. Receive as in like we've done the intake for. Then there's the review and site visit. that means that's kind of like that 90 day starts, and that gives us the 90 days of we're going to do a staff review, we got a committee review, and then we do the virtual site visit or in person, depending on a few factors that I'll highlight in a second. And then we determine if you're certified, yes or no. If you're certified, you're in. If you're denied for any reason, we give you the reason why you're denied and the ability to appeal within 30 days. And if you don't like our decision after the appeal, you can take it up to national. But then you can reapply after fixing the issues 6 months later from that initial denial date. But we're going to hope you're going to be in. I think you're going to be in. So if you pay attention during the webinar today, reread what we've asked, you're going to be in. Once the site visit is complete, please allow 30 days for notification regarding the final decision. That gives us time we do a full review again. After the site visit, we take everything top to bottom and say, all right, did we miss anything the first time through or the second time through? If everything is good, we've not missed anything, we've not had any extra questions or anything like that, then you're determining. So that's why we say, give us another 30 days to process that. Now, the cost to apply, it's a non-refundable processing fee. It's not a certification fee, it's a processing fee. We're a nonprofit, so it pays our salaries to process these. It's based on your annual revenue reported on your federal taxes, the gross receipts. It's kind of broken down there into 5 tiers. If you're under 1 million, it's $350, 1 to 5, you're $500, $750 for 5 to 10, $1,000 for 10 to 50, and 50 million plus, you are at $1,250. I hope that I see you 1 year at the $350, and then the next year or a couple years later, I see you at $500, and then I continue to see you go up. I don't see a dime extra. I'm salary, but that means that you're getting utilization out of the certification and your business is growing. That's why I like to see it. So some confidentiality and privacy, because I've mentioned we're going to have a lot of documents that you're going to submit. We think your security and privacy is our number one priority. There's several layers of encryption with the portal. We all sign confidentiality agreements, same with our volunteers. We also don't share confidential information with them or anybody outside of staff. Records are purged if you're discontinued. So if you don't apply within 90 days of starting your application, it will delete it out. The system deletes it. And then it's also, I think the system also deletes it if you've not been certified in so long. There's no hard copies of anything kept. I don't love this important note, so I'm going to call it a half important note. If someone's helping you filling out your application, it says list them as the contact in question 17. I don't love that because that's also who, if we have questions, we're reaching out to. If we have opportunities, that's who we're reaching out to. So if, say, Hamilton County says, hey, Robbie, can you send this to anybody that does, does marketing? I'm gonna send it to those contacts. So if you have an attorney filling it out for you and they're listed as question 17 as your contact, they're not gonna know if they're filling out for 10 businesses, they're not gonna know what business it's referring to. My suggestion is add them as a user in the database if you have someone helping you. So then I can still talk to them because they're on your profile, but that contact form is still going to whoever in your organization you want those contacts to come to. If it's a sales representative, but also just again, know if we have questions, and we're scheduling a site, but it's going to that contact. So I highly recommend it being the owner or someone that is going to always be responsive and receptive and knows what's going on, that's helping you with this application. So that's my suggestion, is understand that could happen. So if you're having an attorney fill it out for you or something like that, make them a user. You can always remove them as a user later on if you don't like it. So now this is kind of, we're getting into the dashboard, more of the more boring stuff of the webinar, but it's also the more technical stuff. So when you're applying, WeBankLink.org, you can do it through our website, you can do it through the Nationals website. WeBankLink 2.0, you can search that. This is what you're going to get of how to apply and all that. You want to click that apply for or renew certification, and then it's going to ask you, put in your email, which would be your username, and it's going to send you a one-time password, and you're going to fix it and all that. This is a dashboard split into 2 screens. So this is a second second screen, if you were to click here for the certification application pending, there's also here this manage/apply for certification. It's also the same area for recertification. Once you've started your application, this is where you can come back to. And once you click there and you've started your application, you started answering questions, and you want to come back to it, you'll click there, and then it'll bring you to this second screen here, and it shows you in the like where you are in the process, how far process takes you back in the application. This shows you how far along in the application you are. So it will not save. It begins saving after the first screen. I found that out the other day helping somebody. You have to make it through the first screen of the application before it automatically starts saving. You have to scroll to the main bottom and hit save for the first time, and then after that, it'll save every time you switch pages. But just make sure you're saving it if you want to come back, and you can come back. That's why we give you 90 days, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot that we're going to ask for. And I understand that it's a lot. It's overwhelming. It's going to take a couple hours or more. I recommend, chunking out 30 minutes a day of an evening, or, whenever you can cut out time to kind of break it down. The first 6 sections are going to be like questions about your business references, how long you've been in business, what are your NAICS codes that you want on your application and on your profile that you can be searched by. Who are the owners? What's their role? Do you have any other businesses? It's a lot of stuff. That's what those first 6 sections are. The document list is what's going to take you the most time. To be completely honest, that is the most time-consuming thing, because there are so many documents, and I think it's coming up in a slide or two about what all those documents are. That's where, I know it says 17, but it's like 27. I think it was when I counted the last time. But that's what's going to be the most time-consuming. A lot of that as a business owner, you should have. I knew it was one of the next 2 slides. This is going to take you to that cheat sheet of kind of what are we looking for document-wise. A lot of this is stuff you should have. It's going to be your W-2s if you're 1120S or 1065, so you can receive one. If you're an LLC and you don't receive a W-2, I'll get that in a slide or two, because they have the difficult documents. It's going to be asking for your balance sheet, your profit loss, your bylaws, your state certification filing with the state of your entity. It's a lot of stuff you should have as a business owner on hand. You're not going to have a resume on hand. That one's going to be a little more, hey, you got to make a resume, because that's the perk of being a business owner. You don't apply for jobs anymore. You don't really have a resume kind of typed out. It doesn't have to be a perfect one. It can be a Word document. So you can do that. You may not have a history of business, thought out. You can copy and paste one from your website if you have it, but we're looking for like a paragraph of like why you got started, and got to where you are, if you are kind of a more established, or if you're just getting started, like why you're starting your own business. Paragraph or so. People submit 2 pages sometimes. I love reading them because it lets me kind of see behind the curtain of why the gears started turning for you, so that whenever we do eventually meet, I know a little bit more about your business and can start asking some questions and just kind of feel like I get to know the business. Some of the documents that are required, if applicable to the business, you'll notice there are mandatory and required documents. Even though I think both of those words are absolute, in WBE's terms, they are not. Mandatory means there's no way around it. Required are required if applicable. So you may not have, like a W-2 is an if applicable thing, because if you're an LLC, you're not allowed to pay yourself a salary. So you won't be able to submit a W-2. So, but some of those documents, legal and governance, if you're a sole proprietor, you probably don't have a bylaw, you probably don't have an operating agreement. Click not applicable. Financial structure, personal. And again, or I guess first time I'm saying this, recertification is not nearly as difficult, as time consuming, because there's a button that lets you press copy the last application. If nothing's changed, you click yes. And if anything's changed, click yes, and you go back and fix those issues that have changed. If you change your it's not going to ask you to change your hair color, but it's going to say, hey, did you change employee counts? Did you add any extra equipment or something like that? And then it's going to ask for about 6 or 7 documents. And two of those are user agreement and sworn affidavit. The other two more are the updated balance sheet and profit loss. Then it's going to ask for the new taxes and W-2 if applicable, and or meeting minutes, anything new coming up like that. So that's where you're going to get, the recertification is a breeze. I'm talking 30 minutes or less to do it. If nothing's really changing and you're just adding in some new documents, it's a breeze in comparison. Employee we're looking more W-2 in that realm. That's like, we're not really tech. During the site visit, we'll ask, do you have any 1099 or contractors, any temporary? We're looking for like full-time, like what your company considers full-time. If that's 30 hours, if 35, it's 40, whatever that's full-time, like W-2, that's where that employee count is. But if you're strictly 1099, I don't really consider them employees of your business. They are contractors. So I hope that answers your question, Susan. If not, I can go into more details of what we're kind of looking for. I see the thumbs up, so I'm gonna, that's good. All right. And so if you're a brand new business, some of the tricky documents, the governance and eligibility, give me more than I'm asking for. If you're like, oh, does he need this or not? Submit it. Worst case scenario, I don't need it, but it's confidential and like we'll move past it. And I would much rather you send me something I don't need than me to have to, or Pauline to have to come back and ask, hey, I'm missing page 84 of this document that's missing this very vital information. If your taxes are, I think I've seen them that are like 2,000 pages before. So you're not going to send me the longest taxes I've ever seen. I promise. I've seen them though that are short as like 10 pages. It's no big deal. Not everyone's taxes are massive. Not everyone's small. Send me too much. Let me decipher what I need. It's much better that way than me having to go back and say, hey, you didn't submit your K-1s with your federal taxes. I need those. And now that process is slowing down. That 90 days is starting to get drug out, but we're not moving anywhere. So the 3 full years of federal tax returns. If you're a brand new business, you're going to have that. You may not have one yet, and that's fine. Send me the most recent personal taxes, the first 4 pages of your personal taxes, and you can redact any social security numbers, bank information that you want. That's fine. But if you were to have 1 year but not 3, submit the most recent one, and then give me 1 year of personal taxes to offset the other 2. I'm not going to. We used to make you send 3 years of personal taxes, but now we're like, whatever year you don't have, send 1 year, and then you're good from behind that. Balance sheet profit loss. It's okay if they have a lot of zeros on them. There are a lot of free templates out there. I think the SBA might have one. I know Excel has one that like just comes with Excel for either one of those. I think there's Pinterest might even have some. Like if you look up, balance sheet template, there's like NerdWallet has them. Like there's so many out there that are free to use that are gonna be fine. It's okay if they have a lot of zeros or they're mostly zeros. Your startup, that's okay. Also, like if you've been in business for 2 or 3 years and you've just not really put a ton of effort into it yet, it's okay if they have a lot of zeros as well. You're still kind of startup in my eyes. Other things that may not apply: W-2s, list of employees, payroll documents, lease agreements. If you're sole proprietor or you're brand new and it's just you, you may not be getting a W-2 yet if you're filing a Schedule C, because again, I said you can't. List of employees, it may just be you. You can say, hey, I'm the only employee. It says a Word document. I'm going to say, give us a PDF, because I know some of you all work on Macs. I work on a Dell. So I cannot open the, WordPad on my computer. So sending a PDF allows it to kind of be universal, that we can all open it and it's not going to like bug out our system. But it can be, you've done it in a Word document saying, hey, I don't have any lease agreements. I'm working out of my home. I don't have any loans, or what, I'm the only employee. There's no payroll. Put that in a Word document, save it as a PDF, and then submit it. been in business for 8 years, but my LLC is brand new. How do I fill out the form? You're filing with the state is going to be your LLC. That's when you're kind of like your business technically starts in like the IRS and government size. Even though I guess into us, I don't want to get you in trouble there. Into us. So it's going to be whenever that LLC was officially filed for. So if it's was 2024 that you've officially filed the LLC, even though you were selling, scroll up here. So you're a designer. So you might have been doing stuff as a contractor, but not having your own LLC, which we see. But then you started 2024. You said, "Hey, I want to make this official firm. I'm my own firm as an LLC now, even though I'm doing the same work." We're looking for that 2024. Is kind of when it is, because that would be when you filed with the state, or you started filing your taxes for the first time as a business. So that's what we're looking at. It's like, when do you kind of start filing stuff as a business? And I hope that answers your question, Victoria. And if not, my contact information is going to be on here. And we can kind of maybe have a one-on-one, and I can dive down into what you're exactly looking at. Some quick tips, easy certification process. Number one, create your profile. You don't have to start the application when you create the profile, but create your profile. Put your business name on there, get it started, have a base. Submit as many documents as possible. As I mentioned, I would much rather you give me stuff I don't need than for me to have to ask for stuff I need. If you're like, well, I don't have a W-2, I'm not going to submit anything, even though or I'm not going to submit a resume because I'm a business owner. I don't have a resume. I'm going to have to go back and say, hey, can you submit that resume for me? Because what we're doing is we're checking to make sure that you have the expertise to operate your company. If you've been a nurse for 30 years and then randomly you're saying, hey, I'm going to open a construction company, I'm going to have some questions. I'm going to say, where'd you get this? You were a nurse for 30 years and you're retired from it. How did you learn construction? I'm going to ask questions, but it also gives you the opportunity to say, my husband, my grandpa, my dad, whatever, ran this construction company. I was doing the paperwork in the background all 30 of those years. It's going to give you that opportunity to kind of answer those questions ahead of it. Saying, I was, chief paper worker or whatever it was that wasn't official, but like you were doing all the paperwork, you were scheduling contracts and all that. It gives you the opportunity to kind of give us an insight into what's going on behind the scenes as well. So make sure your bylaws support female control. Again, here it says QR code for the standards and procedures. Read through that and think, is there any way as a female owner or a group of females that we do not have control of our business? Is there a board that is majority owned or the majority of male that could potentially remove control? But as owner, can you remove board members without cause? If you can, then it kind of takes away that majority male. Not saying you're going to do it, but you have the ability to do it. Because I see a lot of family businesses that you're going to have some really weird Thanksgiving conversations if you start removing your brother and your uncle off of the board. But to know that you can, and you're just going to have a weird Thanksgiving, that's fine. We want to know you can do it. We don't say you have to do it. We just had someone recently that made a huge business. We had to deny them because they were not on their bank signature card. Because they're like, well, I have a CFO that does everything and he directly reports to me, but they were not on the bank signature card. I'm not saying you have to sign every loan that comes out because of how big they were. I just want you to have the ability to have that control. You hire people you trust, and at a certain level, you're like, I don't want to have to be bogged down signing contracts and paychecks all day. So you have other people do it for you. So to kind of make sure you can do things, not saying you have to do it all, but you should be able to do them all. If you're filling it out for somebody else, make sure the owner reviews it and signs it. We've had that happen before of somebody's filling it out for somebody else and they thought they had it all. And they're like, oh no, I forgot to give her or them this document that actually circumvents this issue that would have been in the bylaws. So make sure the owner is reviewing it if you're filling it out for somebody else, or if you're having somebody fill it out for you, make sure you review it before you submit. Pay the processing fee by credit card. Credit cards are instant. We can start you all don't pay the fee. Of like, I know some companies be like, oh, if you want to cover the 3% fee, $350 is, if you're under $1 million, that's what you pay, is $350. but it's instant. The next day we can start processing your application. If you submit by check, we have to wait for that check for us to receive that check and to process that for that check to clear the bank. So that could, again, kind of take a minute for us to even start the application process. The credit card allows us to start a lot faster. Whitelist the email WeBankLink at webanklink.org. When we have questions on your application, we're going to send them through WeBankLink because it stays secure that way, because we might ask for extra documents or whatever. WeBankLink sometimes goes to my spam until I started whitelisting it. And I work for us, like whitelist that email so it doesn't go to your spam or junk folder. And so if we have questions, you can immediately kind of get in there and see those. Send all responses to Q&A requests for documents as one response in a timely manner. If we ask for 3 documents, please don't submit one document and make us ask for the next 2 and then submit one more and make us ask for the 3rd one and then we have to submit all 3 documents. You have the ability to. I'll also say this. If we're asking you a very kind of like random question about something about your business, think about why we're asking that. And if you are really curious on like, hey, why do they ask if I can sign these checks? Or why does it, if they're asking, my title is Chief Pickle Officer, but why are they asking if I have anything that says Chief Pickle Officer is the highest title in the company? Think about why we're asking that. Give us a call if something's really weird and you're like, hey, this is not a normal question, I feel. What do you mean, do I have anything documented? That? No, it's not like an official title. I just go by that. And it's like, make sure your documents support highest title female. If Chief Pickle Officer is what you want to be known as, make sure it's in your bylaws and operating agreement. Not that the president and the president's a male is the highest title and Chief Pickle Officer is nowhere to be seen. Read those questions. If it's, hey, can you submit your balance sheet? That's a normal question. Submit your balance sheet. But if we're asking a really kind of like, hey, we noticed this in your bylaws or this in your application, and call us and ask, hey, can you clarify what you mean? We'll give you kind of a help of saying, hey, we've noticed this. Do you have anything that would, circumvent that to make you bring you into compliance if that was an issue? So submit those in a timely manner or call us in a timely manner saying, hey, I got this question. I don't know what you mean. Give us a call. If a question's coming from myself or Colleen, those are the ones that were like, hey, we found something during the review. Anita is doing the intake only. She's not really reading the documents. So hers are more of like, can you submit your bylaws? Can you submit your profit loss, your whatever missing document, or your W-2s or K-1s? Those are kind of the standard questions that don't really have any implication. It's more of, we need these documents. If it's coming from myself or Colleen Rudisell, the Director of Certification and Outreach, give us a call and say, hey, I don't understand. If you don't understand, or kind of read between the lines there and saying, hey, why did she ask me this very specific technical question about my bylaws? And answer in a timely manner so we can kind of start getting everything worked out and make sure that you're in compliance. Because sometimes it's stuff that you don't even think about. Be flexible when it comes to site visits. We utilize volunteers a lot of the times, not all the time. Some of it's staff. But the volunteers are donating their time. They're business owners like you, or they're representatives from corporates that are donating their time to us to do those. So if you have to wait 2 months to schedule your site visit, then that's 2 months longer. You are not, we can't do anything in your certification. So be flexible. If they give you, 4 or 5 times, try to find one of those that works in a timely manner. But we also understand life happens. Some people may go on maternity leave, or something happens in the family, and you're like, hey, I'm not available until this time. We understand that as well, but just know that that's going to extend that new application process. And remember that it takes 3 or 4 months, around 90 days is what WeBank policy states. We try our best to get under that, but there are sometimes we just can't because of scheduling. Site visits. WeBank requires all new applications to have a site visit. Be as flexible as possible when scheduling the site visit with a volunteer. They don't have access to your file. They don't know any status of your application. We give them very, very, very limited information, and that is so they're not biased in the site visit. They are all very happy, wonderful people who really enjoy learning about you, and you'll probably see out and about because they're part of WeBank at some level. So be nice to them, please. They will be very nice to you. If there is an issue, please feel free to reach out to myself or Colleen, and we'll be happy to stand in or step in. If you have support questions, put them in WeBank link, and that way it's tracked and all that, and then it filters to Colleen and myself. All site visits are virtual except if you're in distribution, manufacturing, if you share the space with another business that's not a WBE, and if staff determines it's necessary. Sometimes our tricky files were like, hey, I think we could better understand this if we went in person, or your business is super cool and I really want to come tour, whatever it is, we can do that. Sometimes we do it for training of like, hey, we need to train a new volunteer or staff member. So we'll come do it in person. So as they're traveling, they can do them. Distribution, manufacturing, the shared space. If you're in like a co-hatch, most of the time we're not gonna have to do that one in person because we know what they all kind of work as. We just may ask some extra questions of, hey, do you have your own designated office space that you can lock a door if you have equipment or whatever? We just may have some extra questions around that. But if you're like a co-hatch, I mean, we're in a co-hatch or a co-working space or incubator kitchen, we may not always come to do those in person because when you've seen one, you've most of the time seen them all. All right, we're wrapping up, I promise. I'll get you out of here on time. What comes next? New business opportunities if you work your network. Show up to events. I cannot introduce you to people if you're not there. Yesterday I was at an event in Cincinnati, the Get With It, the WitCon, and I had some people come up to me, these women in tech, and they're like, hey, do you know anybody that work like is hiring in this? I was like, I don't, because we're not hiring. But I was like, I actually know two IT staffing companies they participate a lot in our events and come and talk to us and all that. So I was like, here's websites for those people. I've had corporates come up to me and say, hey, do you know anybody in this industry? And because that person, a person had been communicating with me and been into another event, I was like, oh yeah, here's their website. Like, check them out. So like, come to the event. That's how you meet people. That's how you get the most out of your certification. Upload your certification to supplier diversity portals. I know like Messer Construction has their own. I think Toyota and them do. Hamilton County has one. Market yourself as a WeBank WB. Check out the corporate and government member online directory. Attend the national conference, business fair in June. Next year, it's going to be in Salt Lake City. And then we have our own Catch the Wave that's going to be in Louisville in August. I think it's that last week of August. It's like Monday, Tuesday. Join some committees. So, support our programs, awards, and certification. You can be a volunteer for certification. You can do marketing, and we have different ones. Survey. We'll leave this up for a second of how did I do? How are we doing? What can we improve on? I don't see the results. I know I talked fast. I was checking the time. I know we're getting close. I'm going to skip to the next one, but I'll come back to that. Some upcoming events. We have our BDP info session that is today. You can still register for that. That's our business development program. It's kind of like a little mini business degree. It's like 7 months, but like once a month. Hear about it. Like, even though you may not be able to participate this time, still get to know about it. You can get our link here with the registration links for everything. The WB Connect in West Virginia, that is not just W certified. You're welcome to come to that if you're just trying to figure out who's in the network, ask questions, what we're about, all of that. We also have a Women of Color, Why Should I Get Certified, on November 19th. That is led by a WBE and our Women of Color committee. So if you have more questions or you want to just digest this in another way, we have another one coming up on the 19th. We have another Becoming Certified in October or in December. And then there's a Doing Business with the Davey Tree Expert Company, where this is a Doing Business with series that they get to talk about how to get their business, how to if they send out an RFP, what they're looking for and how that's filled back. If they have an internal portal for supplier diversity, how to submit to that. So there's all kinds of those. We do those all throughout the year with our corporate members. They kind of submit to us like, yeah, we want one. And we do them throughout. Hamilton County's done them. I think Kroger's did one, Steeris, like it's all different kinds of industries that do those. I think Cleveland Clinic might have done one last year or year before last. MGM, like there's all different industries and they're all buying different things. You'd be surprised that a construction company needs catering because they reward their staff at times. They have little events and stuff, and they want sweet treats. You'd be surprised at like what they offer. So don't think, oh, I'm never going to do business with construction. I'm never going to do business with a retail chain like Kroger. You'd be surprised on what all they need. So come to those, hang out, see what they're about. That's their events. Here is the ORV information, the info, because if you have a question about programming, we filter it to there. There's our website, and that's where you can find my email and all of our information. It's on our website. It's under there about us. I'm going to scroll back up because that's the last slide to the survey. If you didn't get that the first time, please fill that out. That lets us know kind of what you're looking for, what you're looking to get out of certification, and all that. I think there's a comment section in there. Like I said, I don't see it. I don't even know what the questions are, to be honest. But thank you all so much for being a part, listening to me ramble for an hour. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Feel free to email me, email anybody. We'll do our best to help you. And I look forward to seeing you all and seeing your applications.